Hello and welcome to another Company of Heroes 3 game. My name is Fancy Josh, and today I've got a special one for you. We have N7 Shark with us today on the CoCast. Why don't you say hello?
Hey Josh, thanks for having me, man. I'm looking forward to this.
So in our bottom corner, we have Nostalgia as the US, and in the top side, we have RedxWings as our Africa core. Map today is going to be Famenville. Uh, you know, do you remember this map from Company of Heroes 2 Shark with the gigantic castle building right in the middle? The good old days?
I mainly remember just struggling like crazy on this in Co 2, and screaming quite a bit and never quite figuring it out. And I like this map. I feel like this map is really biased towards USF with just how wide it is. It really suits their play style. And it's ironic that Nostalgia came in saying, "Hey, good luck, meme wings," and then immediately rolls into the most meta 1v1 battle group with the armored, getting a Jeep out with Vet 1, capping his fuel. So it's interesting. It's like he knows that RedxWings is going to do something unexpected and fun, which is why we like watching him. But his response is, "Let's start with the meta and see what happens."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, honestly, fairly standard opening for RedxWings. Panzer Pioneer into bike here. See what he wants to go for next. I mean, I've seen him go for like totally insane, 4 Pioneer openings or just ridiculous stuff. So, see what he
This is
has in
the
store
build that
for us.
I've seen people use. Now, first off, he immediately throws a cash down on that +10 fuel, which is interesting. And then, yeah, he's gonna, I think, play heavily into kind of the mechanized approach here. The double Panzer Pioneer, but no half tracks, just a Krautschützen, and he's already teching. So we're definitely going to see something fun from him.
Yep, and that's the craziness I think everybody's come to expect from RedxWings.
Yeah.
Nostalgia continuing the standard build, adding on another rifleman here. No surprise. Okay, and now a Panzerjäger. That's definitely the meta choice from
That's
RedxWings.
super early. You know, the only thing I can think is that he saw the Jeep with Vet 1 and he goes, okay, armored. It's going to be Jeep in a motor pool, so I don't have to worry about weapon support center, MGs, etc. And so because of that, it's actually really suited to that mechanized build. If you try with DAC to play too much with the 250s against a weapon support center, the combination of the MGs and the bazookas will just chew you up. And then you spend more time repairing your vehicles than you do fighting.
US player managing to capture his fuel here. So both players going to have... This fuel cache is throwing me off. I don't think I've ever seen a person build a fuel cache in a 1v1 on this map. So it's like he doesn't even care about having this second fuel. He's just like, nah, I'm good on 15. See you in the mid-game.
But that, I mean, I really like that approach. I am going to immediately try that exact same thing. Because you look at how little he's otherwise invested. He's got these Panzerjägers in ambush mode. He's got an MG34 coming out. But Nostalgia is not going to cooperate. You see, Nostalgia has a weapon support center in the build. So we will potentially see some half tracks, some bazookas here.
Yep. So I think the disadvantage of what RedxWings is doing is his opponent is taking a bit of map control, right? I mean, he's thrown down sandbags on that center point. He's barbed wiring off his opponent's sandbags, so he's taking advantage of his position, and that's we should take notes here, right? Because when you take ground, make it harder for your opponent to take it back. Love to see that.
Yeah, that's exactly the kind of like high APM, high micro play that separates, guys like these versus guys like us, basically.
Yeah, I think everybody has room in their builds for or room in their APM for field defenses. Jeep going down in the middle there, getting a little aggressive, finding those Panzerjägers.
That's a great pickup for RedxWings.
Yep, it's gonna keep his dream of memeing alive, I think. But yeah, I mean, shift clicking your engineers when they're doing something, you know, and then looking away, that's something I think everybody can fit in. You know, you're already shift-clicking your units between capture points, so throwing something like some field defenses in there can be attainable even by somebody like myself. Rifleman,
And
sorry,
go ahead.
Rifleman making a move on this fuel cache might go down here.
So he's gotten about 4 minutes of that fuel cache before it gets destroyed. I mean, that's 20 fuel. That's not nothing, right? That's essentially 2 minutes of this other fuel being uncapped. So I like this approach. I think it's smart. And it's relatively safe based on the location that +10.
Yep.
And if you look at the map control, Red Wings, yeah, he lost that cache, but look at him. He's almost split the map 50-50, which against Americans at the 5-6 minute mark is pretty good for Dak.
And then despite the unusual opening, I feel like we're landing in a relatively normal place. You know, mortar coming out from our US. By the way, I really like indirect fire on this map in particular, just because of how squat it is, right? How close you are to your opponent's base compared to some maps. So, love to see that.
Yeah, that's smart. Man, those pioneers, they started with just a fraction of health, and so they bled quickly.
Flak half track on the way.
Red Wings floating a ton of manpower. I wonder if we're going to see. Oh, he's chosen. He's gone armored support. But I wonder if we're going to see something like the vehicle survival package really early.
Talk to me about your thoughts on the options for the armored battle group. I see, you know, this rapid production, and I can't see the name of it. Do you mind pulling up the armored battle group for me? And there's the two options, and I wanted to get your take. Do you like the faster production, or do you like the alternative?
So I actually typically go. I had the wrong guy selected. I actually typically go for the strength and steel. So this reduces the population cost of all vehicles, right? And so that reduces your upkeep, which means scouts go down. One, you can fit more vehicles on the field, and two, there's less manpower drain. It's a little bit of a manpower hack, kind of like advanced logistics, just not as extreme. But if you're gonna play really heavily into motor pool, which most people playing armored do, it allows you to do so and still afford having multiple rifle squads or a couple bazooka squads on the field. And I found that, like, I'm generally less concerned with getting vehicles out, you know, the second that I queue up the build, and more concerned about the overall economy, which is why I generally go for strength and steel. I'm sorry, that's a very long answer to a very easy question.
No, that's fine. I mean, you hit it on the head for me too. Like, so, you know, the rapid production can be pretty spicy in a very tight build, right? If you have just the right amount of fuel, and, you know, with the changes to the Greyhound, I think that it's certainly possible to, you know, get a crazy fast Greyhound out. But at the end of the day, I don't feel like the Greyhound hitting the field a few seconds faster is going to matter for 95% of players and 95% of builds. So, yeah, I think that's a great answer.
What I've seen, it's not the first Greyhound, it's the second and the third that really make the difference. And so that rapid production, as long as you have the fuel control, really helps you get there. Also, it's worth noting, Red Wings obviously floating a ton of manpower. He has the vehicle survival package and the tungsten core ammunition. So that flak filling is going to do a sneaky amount of damage to those half tracks.
And we actually almost saw the half track going down there to those Panzerjäger. Still a brawl in the middle here. Both players willing to trade manpower just to have a chance at this victory point. And actually, our U.S. player has control of both fuel points right now, so he's got a significant advantage, at least for a little bit here.
Yeah, you see that in his investment into BARs, which I don't know how I feel about that. There's not enough infantry on the field for his rifles to really need that advanced firepower. I'm gonna just kind of say I think that's a little bit of a misplay for Nostalgia. I think that 40 fuel, he'd be a minute away from a tank depot. Could potentially get something like survivability, advanced logistics. Like there are other ways I would rather. Oh my gosh, Red Wings is a second flak-filling queued up.
And a mechanized support gun. Sign me up, dude.
Let's do it. This is epic. Well, to your point, right? That LEIG, that's gonna do really, really well on this map, as shallow as it is. The double flak filling with all the upgrades. Oh man.
So that's going to be a little scary, but also extremely fragile. I mean, those bazookas are going to be totally useless in the face of that much firepower.
Yeah, as long as he positions it properly. So that's kind of the curse of the flak filling, right? You can attack move it, but you see most players will reverse move it around the map, which means you have to be a little bit more deliberate with your movement commands because it won't stop when it sees an enemy unit, but it will fire faster. So I kind of like that. It's much more effective than the American, half tracks, and so it makes sense that there'd be a little bit of an extra micro tax.
Flak half-tracks hunting these engineers on the side here. It feels like he knows that they're there.
Pack.
Yeah. Uh-oh. Engineers trying to hide away, though.
Well, I love positioning one on the retreat path.
Oh, man,
Just
dude.
sandwich him.
Yep.
Oh, a satchel. Oh, no.
You gonna get out of there?
He's oh my gosh, it's down to just a fraction.
I think he turned the vehicle and it saved it. That was crazy.
That's insane. If something so much as sneezes on that flak filling, it's going to explode, though.
And now I think we're going to start seeing an artillery war here. Mortar and 75 millimeter against this support gun. Both players trying to barrage each other's positions. 75 millimeter fighting this 250. Gonna back out of there. And our U.S. player's been pretty dominant on victory points up to this point here. So, Red Wings doing okay. Still has 300 points left, but is going to have to start paying a little bit more attention to those victory points, I think.
Yeah, I'm actually shocked at how low the kill count is right now. I feel like there's been a lot of performative combat. Like, hey, let's make contact, but everyone's being very respectful. And I much prefer the games where people just throw in dives and haymakers constantly. Because these are just little CPU soldiers. They're not real people.
I tend to agree with that just from an action perspective. Man, those Jaegers are so far forward, and Red Wings getting a deep mine on this side, and I don't think his Nostalgia is going to be able to see that. He does not have minesweepers right now, so any mine is a good mine.
Mm-hmm. Red Wings is hurting a little bit on fuel control. He still needs to recap. He's got his crowd shifts and move it towards it, but that may come back to bite him if you just look at how much Nostalgia's been able to upgrade. And Red Wings is nowhere close to having his tier 4 out.
Yeah, it could be a low-tech game for him if he doesn't start focusing it a bit more. But again, I mean, still floating a ton of manpower here, so it's a little unusual for him. I feel like some of his builds can be pretty tight, but this game just is floating away. And, for those of you that don't know, Red Wings does stream on Twitch occasionally, as does Shark here, so if you ever get a chance, definitely recommend checking them out live.
I would not recommend my channel unless you just want to make fun of. I use the phrase "I guide others to treasure that I cannot possess." I'm good at analyzing gameplay. I don't know if I'm good at executing gameplay, but Red Wings is a third flak filling. Get out of here, dude!
And he's gonna run smack dab into a Hellcat here.
Oh. I mean, the Hellcat doesn't have a ton of armor, so maybe with the tungsten core munitions and the armor-piercing rounds on the flak filling, maybe 3 flak fillings, and 2 of them are Vet 1, so alright.
And, I think the low tech continues, going for the AT gun here. Great use of that manpower. Honestly, I think he should add on another one, just based on how little anti-tank capability he has.
I completely agree. The problem with Red Wings build like this is he doesn't have access to the tier 3 of the armory upgrades. And you really want, if you're going to lean this heavily on these flak trucks, you really want that emergency repair kits. Because it's not just for the self-repair, but the plus 80 health. I mean, that's a big deal.
Right, able to survive one extra shot, get your unit out of there. It does make a huge difference.
Yeah. Now, Nostalgia still does not have grenades tacked. Oh, Krodschützen. And the Hellcat can't kill a Krodschützen. DAC armory upgrades for the win, everybody.
Yep. That's hilarious. Barely scraping out of there.
It's hilarious as a caster. It's infuriating as a player.
Yeah, well, depends. I guess it depends which side we ask. You're like, yep, my motorcycle lived, get wrecked. But, yeah, not being able to take him out, definitely. Mortar war continuing here. The machine gun does have this center point, though. And victory points continuing to be controlled by Nostalgia here, so RedxWings really going to need to turn that around here in the next few minutes, or he's going to be hurting. Big push coming out of the base here. Looks like our US player wants to shut down this top side. Going to be met with these flaks here in the middle. And the fight starting out here.
Oh, that's bad. That's got to be at least one dead half-track, or flak filling, right?
Yeah, I think so. Oh,
wow.
Smoke, though. Blocking that line of sight. Attacking ground, not quite connecting. Flak half-tracks all going to get out of there. Are you kidding me?
Well, and the whiff. The Hellcat whiffed on that low flak filling. That's wild. And RedxWings has unlocked the Flampanzer. I think it would have been a cool idea if he wasn't so desperately short on anti-tank.
Demolitions packages on the way for our US player. So we might get to see some rifleman mines. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Assault Grenadiers added on next. So the bizarre build continues. He sees a Hellcat and he says to himself, you know what I need is more anti-infantry. But what I do like about that ad is the capture power. I mean, I think we're seeing that on display, right? He's mostly team weapons. He literally he just added on his 4th infantry. So, that capture power.
Oh, that 250 is going to get shredded by these Zooks, though. Yeah, one more shot. The grenade assault comes in, though. Zook squad evaporated.
Oh my goodness, and a big fight in the middle, too. Flak half-tracks fighting the 75mm Hellcat.
Oh, Panzerjäger.
Yeah,
cool.
Going down there.
But their Panzerbuchse didn't get dropped, so no real harm done to RedxWings.
Sport gun getting a great connection on those engineers. Love to see that. And second Hellcat here. Looks like they're on the hunt, trying to find the flak half-tracks in the base. Only going to find a 250, though.
Oh, the base side. This is smart, though. There's not a lot in this base that can actually challenge any of this.
AT gun.
He's just going to destroy the tier 1 building.
And losing the 75mm to the heavy machine gun.
How did that happen?
It was already low health. Black half-track shredding in the absence of these Hellcats, though. Gonna pick up that heavy machine gun. Doesn't look like he's gonna be able to capture it, though.
What a weird game. Sorry.
No, that's fine. That's what I love about RedxWings, man. It's every game of his is like this. And actually gonna destroy that heavy machine gun. Nicely done there. Denying that to his opponent. Hellcat's coming back in. Might have something to say about that.
The triple flak filling, I kind of love it. The concern that I still have is, like, he's still stuck on basically tier 1 or tier 2, depending on how you read the DAC tiers. And he needs tier 4 or he needs tier 3 to get access to that final row of armory upgrades. Because he's floating so much manpower and it's just going to waste. You don't get interest on your banked manpower in Company of Heroes.
Yeah. And, you know, look at this blue map after, you know, the Assault Grenadiers did some serious work on that top side, capturing the victory point up there, and for a short time here, he's going to control all 3, so turns out he knew what he was doing.
Yeah, there's a free bazooka over there. I'm surprised the captain hasn't picked it up.
Hellcat's scuffling here. Flak gonna back off. Hellcats want some, though. Thinking better of it, though. Mortar barrage is continuing. Heavy machine gun gonna have to give up the position. What a crazy game, man. What a crazy game.
Well, so you brought this up earlier. I'm glad that they reduced the importance of the garrisons on this map. I don't really like the way that garrisons are implemented in CoH3 versus CoH2, and so I think by making them slightly less important, you make that garrison like hop in, hop out gameplay just a little bit less punishing. And
Captain going down on the retreat there to those flak. That's so that's a scary amount of firepower.
that's a ton of DPS. Like ultimate glass cannon build for sure. Look at the pop cap difference. 91 for RedxWings.
And look at that command tank.
Is he gonna go no tech DAC? Holy crap.
So
at least
quick thought before we have to get into the action here. The garrisons on this map in particular, this small one in the middle can be leveled by, you know, any type of fire, and it just really opens up the center, and I really like that change in Company of Heroes 3 is just the fact that you can level certain buildings, you know, further changing the dynamic of the map.
Yeah, completely agree. And then from like a programming development perspective, it's actually really impressive that they are able to, like, the software is able to accommodate that in the various ways you can get knocked down. It's something that I don't think about all the time, but people think like, oh, you should just be able to do X, Y, or Z to change the balance. I'm like, yeah, that's true, but the engine that runs this game is really complicated and really complex, and there's a lot of dev work that goes into it. So I always try to keep that in mind when I'm complaining about Relic, please fix X, Y, or Z.
Yep, for sure.
But I do love saying it on stream.
Fair enough. I think we all do. We're in the moment, you curse it, you know? The motorcycle surviving yet another Hellcat there. Hellcat encounter. Man tank out front, getting barraged though. And looks like the US player is going to let him have the position. You know, I don't get to talk about the command tank very often, especially the changes in the last patch. How are you feeling about this unit?
So I was like, let me look this up. So it increases the armor and the rate of fire of nearby vehicles. That, I think, is probably, that combined with the flak filling, like, that's really original. And I like that approach, because you're essentially turning these are trucks. You're turning them into, like, lightly armored vehicles by keeping them pumped up with that command panzer. And the rate of fire boost to 3 flak fillings, like, oh my gosh, look at these rifles just getting gunned down. And the grenade on retreat. Absolute
nice
savagery.
Very nice pickup. Hellcats responding, but not fast enough. And they look pissed to me.
When's the last time you said that? Hellcat's not fast enough.
Well, they are hunting, though. Flak's in trouble here. Smoke grenade changing directions to fool them here a little bit. Command Panzer going to try and help, but that's a dead flak if I've ever seen one. Oh, still alive somehow.
Where's that AT gun? Oh, they whiff again? All right, there we go. Finally.
I think this is a dead
Hellcat. Yeah.
Oh, I'm whiffing though. There we go.
With the Panzerjägers, they might pick up the second.
That'd be a huge pickup. Imagine trading 1 flak for 2 tanks.
Oh yeah. Oh, that Pack 38 was way too far forward.
It's like he lost track of it in the carnage a little bit. Happens to all of us, I think.
The downside of attack moving your. Oh boy, that's not a Hellcat. That's an easy 8. This is a little bit of a bigger problem for RedxWings.
Jaeger's deep here. They might actually.
How do they not see the Hellcat?
Easy 8 chasing the flaks. And this is just some carnage. Both players chasing each other back and forth across the top side of this map. While this is happening, Germans managed to seize the command point there to the Hellcat. Barely got out of there. Wow. Wow.
I like it. There we go. Tier 4 finally on the way for Red Wings. He's probably going to immediately tech the emergency repair kits, probably the rapid advance,
And
that
pack,
extra speed. Oh,
pack being stolen away here. Oh, instantly decrewed, though. So maybe Red Wings can get that back.
how is that crowd Schützen still alive, man? Mind blown here.
I'm always impressed when players keep their vehicles alive. And the fact that he's kept his motorcycle as well as all of these half-tracks alive is just ridiculously impressive to someone like me. Because, yeah. Bike's the first casualty, man.
Oh, yeah. The only thing I'm disappointed by, I would really love to see... It's not going to happen, because Red Wings has been very deliberate about his build, but I'd love to see Tier 3 and the Wrecker out. He can at least salvage these vehicles because he went armored.
That's
But like a
interesting.
Wrecker to keep all these vehicles like topped up on health and potentially restore them if they get knocked out. Maybe recover a Hellcat. Who knows?
Well, you were talking about the pop cap disparity a minute ago, and it's evened out a little bit here, but I think that's a scary sign of what's possible from this U.S. Army. I mean, he's got plenty of room to add on some more tanks in and I think more tanks is absolutely going to run over this build eventually. We'll see if that's what actually ends up happening, but...
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. There's just not any hard AT on the field for Red Wings right now.
So we're going to find out just how good the tungsten rounds are against a Easy 8. I think I know how that's going to go.
Yeah, he had another Hellcat queued up there. But I think he thought better of it. I think he's going to get a second Easy 8. And I agree with that choice. You're not losing anything from a vehicle damage perspective, but you're gaining so much against infantry.
First normal thing on the way for Red Wings here with a Panzer III. Now, Easy 8s eat Panzer IIIs for breakfast.
Well, as they start to mass up these DAC upgrades, though, Easy 8s like should win, but there's a lot in support here.
Panzerjäger's getting some shots on the Easy 8. Front armor doing some work, though. Is going to push him back.
Wait, those Panzerjägers are carrying a bazooka as well. So, 2 Panzerbuchse rifles and a bazooka.
Very nice. But while this push is happening, U.S. player taking some territory on the top for free.
Points taken, all quiet.
All quiet for just a minute here.
Nostalgia's waiting to use his last CPs. And like this, honestly, is a mistake that I used to make, is I focused too much on, making my CP choices immediately versus microing. Obviously, there's a lot going on here, and he's done a good job maintaining a lead. But, field repairs, the Wrecker, War Machine is what he's really missing out on, reducing the manpower cost of these vehicles. Wow! The Schützen? No! Oh, the stolen Pack 38 picks it up. Oh my goodness. I thought it was going to get away again.
Oh my goodness, those flaks do so much damage, dude.
So quick.
Machine gun going down to some indirect fire there. Well, being pushed back, I should say.
Yeah. Airburst barrages are nasty, even with the recent nerf.
Was the nerf the decreased accuracy?
Yeah, I think you just increased the scatter.
Yeah.
Make it a little bit less punishing exactly on the spot.
Surgical.
Sometimes that actually helps you.
Yeah. Hellcat on the side of these flak half tracks. Easy 8 pushing in from the other side. German player in full retreat here. US player wants to chase into the base.
Red Wings might have finally been caught.
Now, the flak's taking the damage instead of the tanks is definitely what Red Wings wants, and actually totally shredding that Easy 8, but a second one here. First Easy 8 going down. And the chase should continue, I would imagine. But the Panzerjäger there to help out. And wow, RedWings surviving way, way longer than I thought he would.
It's all those armory upgrades. They're just... It's an extra, basically, tank gun round of health.
And look
And
how much
look at
damage.
that, Nostalgia's got to back up.
Here comes the anti-tank
is it?
loiter.
Yeah.
And that might be a dead easy 8 in the front there to this Panzer III. It's going to be a trade. Not quite, just barely hiding behind that. Oh, mine picking up the Hellcat.
No! The clairvoyance of that mine.
Yeah,
and now the Panzer III is like, you know what? Yeah, I will dive this
I can do this. I believe. Oh, man, I think he's barely going to get out.
Oh, one more shot is all it would have took.
Both players scraping out of there. What a series of events.
Yes, P3 needs to be careful, though, because the sticky bomb's coming in. Oof.
He's going to survive there, and you know those coaxial guns doing a little bit extra damage here. Surprisingly, treading those riflemen, if you ask me.
How does RedWings still have 2 flak-fillings alive right now?
I mean, it was a combination of misses and extra health and trading the damage across the units, just barely like letting one unit take damage, then the next, then the next. And yeah, I mean, it's a miracle.
That's crazy. That's crazy to me. So Nostalgia's going for field repairs, which, you know, I love to see the wrecker play, but the field repairs is really, really nice if you're floating a lot of munitions and you got a lot of vehicles on the field. He's not floating a ton of munitions. So that might have actually been an unfortunate choice.
Wings actually destroying his own pack gun there. Nice find.
He's got the triple cap. So not super urgent. 4 minutes of VPs left for Nostalgia, but a triple cap is going to drain that advantage relatively quickly.
Easy 8 on the left side, gonna shove away this heavy machine gun. And you know, I like heavy machine guns on this map. If you can put them in the wings, right? There's those 2 buildings on each half of the map that lets you control the victory points with 1 heavy machine gun, and it can really drain your opponent's manpower if you put a heavy machine gun on the edges like that. You know, we saw him dedicating a whole easy 8 to push off that heavy machine gun, and can really take advantage of that in the right situation. Big fight breaking out here in the middle. This player going to win that pretty handily.
Actually, Nostalgia's about to get the triple cap on. So RedWings down to 2 minutes of grace. Oh, those engineers. That's a terrible retreat path.
Barely going to scrape out, though. Flak half-track running for its life. And, you know, this command tank, it's really hard to quantify how much it's doing here. But from the feel of things, that, you know, even that fight where he chased him into the base, I think that command tank made a huge difference.
Oh, for sure. Rate of fire and armor bonus, that's huge. And this whole time, RedWings has done this without any source of healing. Oof.
Panzerjäger barely scraping out of there. Heavy machine guns working in concert on this side here. Is that a RedWings mine? Can't tell whose mine that is.
Yeah, that's a Nostalgia mine there.
Fight continuing to happen in the middle here. Command tank does not care about these 2 Hellcats, apparently. And did they do something to Hellcat accuracy? Because, goodness sake, they have been missing a lot this game.
I thought they were supposed to improve it, but yeah, it really feels like they have, like, cherry gunnery crews in there.
And, you know,
that is the biggest problem from a balance perspective. If you want the Hellcats to be snipers and not brawlers, you need their long-range accuracy to reflect. But
yep, and big push in the middle by the German here, getting a surround on these Hellcats, and call in here, anti-tank loiter, gonna help out a lot.
First strafe is gonna hurt.
Good hit on the first tank. Still chasing here. Panzer III out front. Second Hellcat going to go down here.
Look at the Flakverlings with the armor-piercing rounds. They're going to smoke a Hellcat. They get on the rear armor, or trying to.
And this CZ-8 might be able to limp out of here. Command Panzer going to sneak away from the looks of it. And this is the most insane fight I've seen. Hell, the freaking Black Half-Tracks fighting with an EZ-8 and not losing.
Yeah. Well, so at not only with all the upgrades, but at Vet 3, that Flakverling gets an additional 80 health. So you're looking at 200 additional health for that vehicle on, it's basically a Greyhound at that point.
And as cool as that fight was, German player didn't actually secure a whole lot of victory points during the push, so was continuing to tick down while that was happening, and now he's in desperation mode, 40 points to go. He's going to come away with 2 points, though.
And actually looking at the KD, the trades have not been good getting into the late game. DAC almost always have to be, like an ideal DAC game is one where they have a 2-to-1 KD in terms of infantry. So the fact that it's even when it wasn't before shows you that Nostalgia's been making good plays and good trades.
U.S. Rifleman picking up that bottom point, despite the heavy machine gun, at least decapturing it, so stopping the bleeding. EZ-8 ignoring these flak half-tracks, as would be normal, but not in this game. A machine gun for our U.S. player, barely holding down the center. And another Panzer III on the way. Love this from Nostalgia, just picking up a little bit of free territory on that top side, right? I mean, it is free. Oh, and heavy machine gun going down on that bottom side. Unfortunately.
But not before it murdered that Rifleman squad. It's worth noting the MG34 is largely worthless, but its Vet 1 focus fire ability does way more damage than you think. And that was the reason that Rifleman squad there went down so quickly.
Black half-track nearly picking up the engineers on the top side. Oh, barely getting out of there. It's actually important. Every unit matters at this stage in the game. But with a double cap here, RedxWings once again on the clock. Is sending a Pioneers up top to turn that around. And what a game this has been. Regular Sherman on the field here.
Yeah, I'm confused by the decision to go for the A1 Sherman.
Being absolutely wrecked by that Panzer III.
Yeah.
Jaeger's helping out too. And German player able to hold on to some victory points here. Just barely. Man, we are down to the wire. Adding another heavy machine gun. I do like this choice. Just one heavy machine gun on the wings here can be super annoying for your opponent to deal with when the adrenaline's running and they have to commit tanks to do it. So a little bit of quiet here in an otherwise action-packed game.
Yeah, it's weird. I was like, where's the sound?
Both players licking their wounds. German player getting aggressive, though, trying to find the repairing tanks. Is going to find them. U.S. player willing to give him the space. Afraid of a loiter, I think. Doesn't have enough munitions for it, but of course our U.S. player doesn't know that. And is sending this heavy machine gun up top to keep the lockdown on that star. Unfortunately for him, tanks are going to have something to say about that. German player recognizing that his opponent is strong in the middle and going for some easy pickings on the side here. And wow, this game has been totally ridiculous. Capturing this bottom point with his vehicles, love to see that. Don't get to see it very often, surprisingly.
Good old rapid advance.
Yep. So, has our German picked up, like, all the upgrades, or is he missing a couple? Because, would you mind walking us through what all upgrades he got? So he got tungsten, rapid advance, self-repair, what else? Anything else? Easy 8s here, pushing away these flak guns. Smoke coming out from this mortar. We'll let our German player back in, our US player back into the middle here. And yeah, our German player has his opponent on the clock. So, but with plenty of breathing room here, I think it's possible for our US player to just take it slow here, build up his forces, and then make a concerted push into a particular area. It's totally insane to me that 3 tanks is somehow not enough to deal with this, but this huge flank on these panzers, though, giving them the rear armor here, is focus firing the command tank. But command tank gonna get out of there. Panzer 3 taking...
This is where I have issue with Nostalgia's choice to go so heavily into Hellcats, and even this A1 Sherman. Is you've got... Oh, there's the loiter. The Hellcat's got 600 health. Standard Sherman has 720. Easy 8 has 840. And that extra 120 health for the Easy 8 is one tank gunshot. Over the Hellcat is 2. And so when you're in these like brawly style battles, just imagine if those other 2 vehicles were also Easy 8s. It would just be so much easier for Nostalgia to hold ground. Never mind the like additional armor, penetration values, etc. with the flak fillings.
Well, you're absolutely right. I'm not complaining because this game, I mean, the fact that he's able to fight with these flak half-tracks is just totally crazy. And barely capturing that point with 19 points to go. So this is looking very good for our US player. Gonna find this command tank all alone, though. And is gonna pick that up.
Oh.
And flak's hiding behind this mansion. I suspect their days are numbered here. Hellcat out in front, though, with that weak armor, might have a chance to take it out. But now he's
everything just folding right now for RedxWings.
Yeah, his infantry collapsed there. Yep, and with 19 points to go, losing the 2 command points, I think that's going to be the end of the game here. Jaeger's doing some serious work, but are going to finally go down. That Jaeger's been alive forever with its bazooka.
Wow. Worth noting, though, the Easy 8 does not get any additional health or armor with veterancy.
And going down there.
That's a big pickup for RedxWings, but I think he's just too far behind.
Yep. Yeah, I think so too. You know, I hate calling games early. GG there, coming out from RedxWings. I do respect his decision to stay in the game, though, right? I mean, we've all been there where we win with 1 point on the clock or, 10 points on the clock, so appreciate him not giving up. Any closing thoughts from you, Shark, here? This was just an awesome game.
I mean, I love the variety in the build. I really do. When you play this game and you're constantly dealing with, oh, hey, look, 3 Grenadiers into 3 Jaegers into Whirlwinds and Martyrs, sometimes that can get a little boring. And so, anytime I play against someone who's doing DAC and 1v1 and they're not running Area, I'm excited. But to see someone just try something totally different and original is really a lot of fun. And all of my feedback, and I realized the hypocrisy in this because the whole time I'm like, man, if only RedxWings would do something a little bit more meta and go tier 4 and build a Panzer 3. But I love the play style. And then I just want to throw, shout out to Nostalgia. Like, he really had to work for it. He didn't know what he was going to get. The ability to manage the engagements all over the map, to not throw in the towel after a couple things didn't go his way. Really impressive. So I won't belabor the point, but this is a super fun game to watch. I don't know how you found this, but I need whoever is scouring your replays to send me a couple.
Well, yeah, I found it through CoH3stats.com. I specifically went for a RedxWings game because I just absolutely love his content. Thanks so much for being here, Shark. I will link your channel in the description so everybody give him check out his channel. I hope you guys enjoyed this game as much as we did, and I will see you in the next one.